My name is Anita Hyde. I'm 28 years old, and 3 weeks ago, I realized there's a difference between inviting someone into your life and slowly watching them decide they own it. I had been dating my boyfriend, Mason Carter, for 14 months. We didn't live together. That part matters because later, people acted like I had thrown a man out of his own home. I didn't. Mason had his own apartment across town with 2 roommates and a permanently broken air conditioner he always complained about. I had my own 1-bedroom apartment, my lease, my rent, my furniture, my kitchen. Around month 6, though, he started staying over more. A toothbrush became 2 toothbrushes. One hoodie hanging behind my door became 3. His protein powder appeared beside my coffee maker. A spare key turned into him memorizing my door code. At first, I liked it. I liked waking up next to someone. I liked hearing another person laugh in my apartment. Mason had this easy charm that made ordinary things feel less lonely. Grocery shopping became dates. Sunday meal prep became music playing in the kitchen while he stole pieces of grilled chicken from my cutting board. I thought we were building something. I didn't realize we were slowly changing ownership labels in his head. 3 weeks ago, Mason went away for a wellness retreat. His co-worker dragged him there some luxury resort outside the city, with meditation classes, mindfulness workshops, and speakers talking about living intentionally. When he came back Sunday night, something felt off. Not bad. Different. He stood in my kitchen drinking herbal tea instead of his usual energy drink and said, "I feel like I've been asleep my whole life." I laughed. "That dramatic?" He smiled. "Maybe. But I finally understand what matters." At first, I supported it. He talked about reducing toxins, aligning his lifestyle with his values, becoming healthier. Fine. I meal prep every Sunday. I go to the gym 4 times a week. I'm not anti-health. Then Monday happened. I got home from work around 6:30, exhausted after sitting through back-to-back meetings. I unlocked my apartment door and immediately stopped. Every cabinet door in my kitchen was open. Half my refrigerator was sitting on the counter. Chicken breast containers, eggs, Greek yogurt, cheese, bacon. My prepped lunches lined up in rows like evidence at a crime scene. Mason stood there with his sleeves rolled up. I stared. "What exactly is happening?" He turned toward me calmly. Too calmly. "Babe," he said softly. "Sit down. We need to talk." My stomach tightened. He sat me at my own kitchen table like he was about to present quarterly results. "I've decided to go fully vegan," he announced. I blinked. "Okay. No meat, no dairy, no eggs, nothing animal related." "That's cool if that's what you want." His expression shifted. "No, Anita. You're not understanding. We're doing this together." I actually laughed because I thought he was joking. He wasn't. "I'm not going vegan," I said. His jaw tightened immediately. "You know what's in this stuff?" he asked, gesturing toward my groceries. "Do you know what happens in those factories? I buy most of my meat from the butcher on 5th. That's not the point." "Then what is?" He started pulling more things from my fridge. "This," he said, lifting my meal prep container, "has to go." "No." He paused. "No? No," I repeated. His voice sharpened. "I can't date someone who supports cruelty." I stood there staring at him in my kitchen, surrounded by groceries I paid for, inside an apartment I paid for, listening to a man who didn't live there explain what food I was allowed to eat. Something cold moved through me. Quietly, I walked over and started putting things back. Chicken, eggs, yogurt, one container at a time. He watched me like I was personally attacking him. "You won't even try for me?" he asked. I shut the fridge door. "Your body, your choice," I said. "My body, my choice. My fridge, my food, my apartment." The silence afterward felt dangerous. Not loud. Dangerous. Quiet dangerous. Mason grabbed his jacket. "You're being selfish," And you're being controlling. He walked out without another word. No goodbye. No kiss. Nothing. That night, I texted him. I told him I loved him. I told him I respected his decision. I told him I wasn't changing my diet and expected the same respect back. He left me on red. Wednesday morning, his ex-girlfriend, Brooke, the one he swore he'd barely talk to anymore, liked a social media post of his. Curious, I opened it. Big mistake. Mason had written an entire paragraph about how painful it was when someone you love refuses to grow with you. 200 likes. Comments full of strangers calling me toxic, immature, closed-minded. I locked my phone and went to work. I told myself social media drama wasn't real life. Thursday proved me wrong. Around lunchtime, my smart lock app showed an entry. Mason. He stayed inside 43 minutes. I rushed home after work. My fridge was empty. Not low. Empty. Chicken gone. Eggs gone. Cheese gone. Yogurt gone. My frozen meal prep containers, 2 months of food gone. Probably $350 worth. In their place sat oat milk, tofu, vegan cheese, tempeh, and vegetables I never bought. On the counter sat a handwritten note. "You'll thank me later. This is what love looks like." I stood there staring at those words. This is what love looks like. My chest hurt, not because of the groceries, because suddenly 14 months rearranged themselves in my head. The comments about my clothes, the criticism when I skipped workouts, the way he always framed demands as concern. Love. Concern. Growth. Funny how controlling people rename things. I picked up my phone and called my friend Trevor. He answered immediately. What happened? I looked around my apartment. At the empty fridge. At the stupid note. At the space Mason had quietly taken over. "I need your truck Saturday morning." Trevor paused. "Moving?" "Yeah," I said quietly. "Something like that." Friday morning, I rented a storage unit. 5 by 10. $89 for the month. The woman behind the counter asked if I was moving apartments. I almost laughed. "No," I said, "just reclaiming one." Afterward, I went grocery shopping. Chicken breast, eggs, Greek yogurt, butter, cheese, everything Mason had thrown away. I filled my cart slowly, and with every item I felt less sad and more certain. By Saturday morning, my decision felt heavy but clean. At 9:04 a.m., Mason texted. "Hot yoga at 10. Coming over after. Want smoothies?" I stared at the message, like Thursday never happened, like my empty refrigerator had been a misunderstanding. At 9:15, Trevor pulled up with his truck. He stepped inside, looked around at Mason's stuff, scattered through my apartment, and whistled. Wow. He really nested. I laughed quietly. Yeah. We moved fast. His hoodies from my closet, the expensive skincare products lining my sink, the yoga mat behind my couch, chargers, shoes, the coffee mug he insisted was basically his gaming headset, the blanket he kept at my place. I folded everything carefully, because this wasn't revenge. It was logistics. 2 trips later, everything sat neatly inside the storage unit. Trevor locked it. "You okay?" he asked. I looked at the metal door. "Ask me tomorrow." Back home, I changed my door code, deleted his fingerprint access, removed him from my smart lock app. Then I sat on my couch, waiting for the part I knew was coming. At 11:43 a.m., my phone buzzed. Outside. 3 minutes later. "Code isn't working?" I typed carefully. "I packed your things. They're in storage. I'm sending the address and unit number. The key is taped inside the lock cover." I changed my door code. "I think we need space. Send. 30 seconds. Nothing. Then my phone exploded. Call, call, call. Voicemail. Call again. Finally, texts. What? This is a joke, right? Open the door, Anita. I'm outside. You cannot do this, I replied. Your belongings are safe. You have your own apartment. I need space. 3 dots appeared immediately. Over food? I stared at that message for a long time, then typed, no, because you threw away $350 worth of groceries, ignored my boundaries, entered my apartment while I was gone, and tried controlling what happens inside my home. This isn't about veganism. It's about respect. No response. 2 hours later, his mother called. I almost didn't answer. Curiosity won. Anita? She asked immediately. Mason is hysterical. He said you threw him out. I closed my eyes. He has an apartment, but his things are safe in storage. He told me you locked him out because he wanted you healthier. I actually laughed, not because it was funny, because it was unbelievable. He threw away my groceries twice and replaced them without asking. Silence. Then, well, he's passionate. There it was, the sentence that explained everything. Sunday was quiet. For the first time in months, my apartment felt like mine again. I cooked eggs without commentary, made grilled chicken without hearing statistics about livestock emissions, watched TV without someone pausing every 10 minutes to explain documentaries. Peace felt strange. Monday ruined it. Around noon, I got a message from one of Mason's roommates, Chloe. We were friendly. Not close, but friendly enough. You should probably know he's telling everyone you made him homeless. Attached was a screenshot from their apartment group chat. Mason complaining about his stuff taking over their living room because he refused to pay for that stupid storage unit. I stared at the screenshot. Homeless. The man with an apartment. The man with roommates. The man whose rent I had never shared. Homeless. Then things escalated. At 3 p.m., apartment management called me. Hi, Anita. Someone claiming to be your partner contacted us asking for building access. My stomach dropped. He's not on my lease. Understood, management replied. We already denied the request. I thanked them and hung up. 10 minutes later, Mason texted, You embarrassed me. I stared at the words. Embarrassed. Not sorry. Not I messed up. Embarrassed. Tuesday afternoon, my receptionist buzzed me. Your boyfriend is downstairs. My entire body went cold. I work in an engineering office. Professional building. Open lobby. Co-workers everywhere. I walked downstairs. Mason stood near reception holding coffee. He looked exhausted. You won't answer me, he said quietly. This is my workplace. What am I supposed to do? Respect boundaries. His face tightened. A boundary? Anita, you moved my life into storage. I lowered my voice. You threw away my food, entered my apartment without permission, and ignored every boundary I set. People nearby pretended not to listen, which meant they absolutely were. His eyes filled with tears. Real tears, and that made everything harder, because 14 months doesn't disappear overnight. I remembered movie nights, road trips, his hand finding mine automatically. I remembered loving him, but I also remembered opening an empty refrigerator. I'll call you tonight, I said softly. Please leave. He nodded slowly, then walked away. That night we talked for 20 minutes, half apology, half defense. I was trying to help you. I didn't ask. The documentaries. I don't care what documentaries said. Long silence. Then, so 14 months means nothing? I swallowed. It meant enough that I'm still answering the phone. He hung up. Wednesday morning, Chloe texted again. He's talking about legal action now. I actually laughed out loud, then stopped laughing. Because accusations, even ridiculous ones, still have consequences. So I started saving everything. Screenshots. Receipts. Smart lock logs. Storage unit contract. Photos. Because something told me this still wasn't over. After the legal threat, I went quiet. Not dramatic quiet, just done. I stopped responding to random texts from unknown numbers, stopped checking whether Mason had posted about me, stopped rereading our old messages looking for the moment things changed. Instead, I went back to routine. Work, gym, meal prep, sleep. Peace was slowly returning. Mason apparently hated that. Friday evening, I got a text from an unknown number. "Hi, Anita. This is Lauren, Mason's sister." I remembered her vaguely from his birthday dinner. She had been polite, observant, the type of person who noticed when people interrupted each other. Her message continued. "He's telling people a very different version of what happened. I talked to Chloe. I know what actually happened. I think you did the right thing, but he's spiraling." Then another message. "He's talking about coming to your building with Mom, just warning you." I thanked her. Then I checked my security camera subscriptions were active. Sunday afternoon. Buzz, buzz, buzz. My building intercom lit up. Camera notification. I opened the app. Mason. And his mother. Of course. His mom stood with crossed arms while Mason paced behind her. Buzz. 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 I ignored it. Then my phone rang. I answered. "I can see you on camera," I said immediately. Mason exhaled sharply. "Mom wants to talk face to face." His mother's voice exploded through the speaker. "Open this door, Anita. Adults communicate." I almost laughed. Adults communicate. Not adults who throw away groceries. Not adults who bypass boundaries. Not adults who show up uninvited. "No," I said calmly. His mother raised her voice again. "This is how you treat someone who loved you?" I looked at the camera feed, at Mason standing behind her silently, watching, letting her fight for him. And suddenly I saw something I had missed for 14 months. He never handled conflict himself. He recruited people, friends, family, social media, anyone available. "Please leave," I said quietly. "If the buzzing continues, I'll call management." His mother kept talking. I hung up. They stayed another 10 minutes, then left. I saved the footage. Monday morning, an email arrived. Subject line: "Closure." It was long, very long, half apology, half accusation. Mason admitted throwing away my groceries was probably not the best approach. Probably. He wrote that putting his things in storage was humiliating, that normal couples don't do that his therapist supposedly thought my reaction was disproportionate. Then the ending. One final conversation. "I'll accept whatever you decide." I almost ignored it. Almost. But some part of me wanted the relationship to end in reality, instead of through screens and storage units. So we agreed to coffee. Wednesday, 2:00 p.m. Neutral location. Public place. He arrived exactly on time. He looked tired. Not fake tired. Real tired. And for a second, seeing him like that hurt, because this was still the man who used to bring me coffee during late work nights. Still, the man who knew my coffee order without asking. Still the man I imagined introducing to future versions of my life. The first 10 minutes were easy. Too easy. He talked about the retreat, how it made him feel like he needed to change everything at once, how he got carried away. Then came the shift. "But you humiliated me," he said quietly. I stared. "You threw away my groceries. You put my belongings in storage like I was a tenant. You treated my apartment like your apartment. That's different." "How?" He leaned forward. "Because I was trying to do something good." There it was, the sentence, the one that explained everything. Intentions. His intentions, always more important than impact. I was setting boundaries, I said. And honestly, I'd do it again. He stared at me. Long enough that the coffee between us went cold then. "If you really loved me," you would have let it go. Something inside me unlocked, not broke, unlocked, because suddenly I understood. This entire relationship had worked as long as I adjusted, compromised, explained, softened, accepted. And the moment I didn't, I became cruel. No, I said quietly. Love isn't letting someone rewrite your life because they think they know better. His eyes dropped. So we're done. Yes. He nodded slowly, started gathering his things, then stopped. You're almost 30, he said. You really want to throw away someone who cared about you? I looked at him. Really looked. Someone who cared about me wouldn't empty my fridge and call me toxic online. He left. No dramatic exit. No tears. Just gone. I finished my coffee alone. 2 days later, he blocked me everywhere. Phone, social media, everything. Lauren texted once more. He's angry, but he'll be okay. Sorry for all of this. I told her thank you. A few mutual friends asked what happened. I gave the short version. He threw away my groceries. I moved his stuff out. He escalated. Every single person had the same reaction. Yeah, that sounds like Mason. Then came the funniest part. 3 weeks later, Chloe texted me. You'll appreciate this. Attached was a photo. Mason, at a restaurant, eating salmon. Apparently strict veganism lasted about 9 days. 9 days. This entire disaster. The social media posts. My workplace. His mom. Threats. Storage units. Legal talk. 9 days. Last week, my lease renewed. Same apartment. Just me. My fridge is full again. Chicken in the freezer. Butter in the door compartment. Eggs stacked neatly. Nobody lecturing me while I cook. Sometimes I miss the good parts, because there were good parts. There always are. But then I remember that note. This is what love looks like. No, love doesn't look like control dressed as concern. Love asks. Love respects. Love doesn't need your door code to prove a point.